All right, let's dive into two topics that are at the heart of life in Singapore, your CPF savings and the property market. They're super connected, but wow, can they be confusing. So today, we're going to untangle them together.
You've heard this stuff before, right? Maybe you've even thought it. Why is my money locked up? Or just give me back my CPF. And for property, it's always, there's no way rental can cover the mortgage. These are real frustrations, so we're going to dig into the numbers and see what's fact and what's fiction.
So, let's start with the big one, CPF. Is it just this government logbox where your money disappears until you're old? Or is it something more? Let's challenge that idea that your money is just sitting there doing nothing for you.
First off, what even is the Central Provident Fund, or CPF? Well, it's basically a mandatory savings plan for Singaporeans. It's designed to cover three huge things in life: your retirement, buying a home, and paying for healthcare. Fun fact, it's been around since 1955, so it's actually older than Singapore itself.
Now let's talk growth. The money in your ordinary account, or OA, earns a guaranteed interest of at least 2.5%. That's guaranteed by law. So even when the interest rates at regular banks are practically zero, your OA is still chugging along, growing at a steady, predictable pace. It's totally risk-free.
And it gets better. This system is really built for the long haul. The money in your special account, your MetaSave, and later on your retirement account earns an even higher guaranteed rate of 4%. This is where the magic of compounding really kicks in, building up your nest egg without you having to risk a single dollar in the market.
Okay, so before you turn 55, your CPF is split into 3 different pots, and each one has a specific job. Your ordinary account is the most flexible one. It's mainly for housing, but you can also use it for things like insurance or education. Then there's the special account, which is purely for your retirement savings. And finally, your MediSave account, which, you guessed it, is for your healthcare bills. It's all structured to help you at different points in your life.
So, we've got the CPF basics down. Now let's see how it connects to that other huge part of the Singaporean dream, owning a home. There's this common feeling that it's impossible to afford a place, let alone make it a good investment. Let's see what the numbers say.
We see this sentiment online all the time. I don't think rental can cover the mortgage unless they pay at least 40% down. And it's a totally fair question. With property prices, taxes, all the fees, can you really break even or, heaven forbid, actually make money from rent? You know, getting over that first hurdle, the down payment, is always the hardest part. And this is exactly where your CPF ordinary account becomes a total game changer. Whether you get a loan from HDB or a bank, a huge chunk of that 25% down payment can be paid using your OA. And with an HDB loan, you might even be able to pay the entire thing with CPF, which means way less cash you have to fork out up front. So, let's get to the million-dollar question. Can rental actually cover all the costs? Let's break down a real example. Imagine you're renting out a place for $3,500 a month. Now, after you pay the mortgage and other costs like taxes and fees, it looks like you're losing money. But, and this is the key, remember your monthly CPS contribution. You can use that to pay your mortgage. And once you factor that in, suddenly you could be looking at a positive cash flow of over $1,000 a month. It's definitely not impossible if you plan it right. Okay, another hot topic, what is going on with new condo prices? It feels like they're just getting out of control, right? The common idea is that developers are just pulling these high prices out of thin air. But let's actually look at how the new launch market and the resale market affect each other.
So, to understand new launch prices, you have to look at what's happening with properties that were just recently completed. Take Park Clements, for example. It was finished in 2023. Right now, a 3-bedroom unit there is asking for almost $2.8 million. That's over $2,700 per square foot. That sets a really high bar for everything else around it.
Now hold that number in your head and compare it to a brand new launch nearby, Faber Residence, which will be ready in 2029. The starting price for a 3-bedroom there is under $1.8 million, or just over $2,000 per square foot. All of a sudden, that new launch doesn't seem so crazy expensive, does it? It actually looks like a much cheaper way to get into the market compared to the resale option. And this really shows what's happening. As one property analyst put it, the resale projects are already quite expensive. It really gives buyers not much choice to actually look at the new launch. What that means is, the super high resale prices are basically pushing people to consider new launches as the better value deal.
Okay, this brings us to the biggest assumption of them all. The one idea that the entire property dream is built on, that prices in Singapore will just keep going up forever. Is that really a guarantee? Or is it time for a little reality check?
It's so important to take the long view here. If you look 20 or 30 years into the future, Singapore is facing some pretty big changes. We have an aging population, our fertility rate is going down, and more people are staying single. Put all that together, and it could mean we have fewer people looking for homes in the future, which would completely change how the market works.
So the big takeaway, as pointed out by Professor Sing-Tien Fu from NUS, is this: that assumption that property prices will always go up, it's not a guarantee. The market has to be ready for long-term uncertainty and maybe even some dips. This isn't about predicting a crash, but it means that just blindly believing prices will rise forever is a pretty risky way to plan your life.
So, knowing all this, how on earth are you supposed to plan for your future? Let's try to put together a simple action plan.
First things first, and this is what all the experts say: know your loan limit. Before you even start dreaming and looking at listings, figure out what you can actually afford. Second, make use of the amazing planning tools out there, like the CPF Home Purchase Planner. It helps you see how buying a home with your OA will affect your retirement savings down the road. And third, just think long-term. Don't get caught up in short-term hype. Think about those big demographic shifts and build a financial plan that can handle a few surprises.
At the end of the day, the numbers show that the old-school Singaporean dream is changing. The path isn't as straightforward as it used to be. Yeah, these systems are complex, but for those who plan carefully, they also offer some incredible opportunities. So the real question is, now that you have this information, how are you going to build your dream?